family is growing today. We're adding 3 new members to the family and aging up some other ones. That's possible because, one, the department is expanding, and also, like any other family, people grow up, get a little educated, grow old, and move on. Liz Ford is one of those people. She's our Animal Services Director, and she's with Animal Services. She's not leaving the area right now, but she is leaving her current position, and that creates some opportunity in the police department, and Captain Campbell has some comments to say on that. Oh, and for those who don't know, I'm Captain Troy Kelsay with the Iowa City Police Department. This is Captain Bill Campbell. Chief Matherly was not able to attend today. He had a surgical procedure last week. He was hoping to be here this morning. That just didn't work out for him, so he did prepare some comments that I'll be sharing later, but Bill and I are tasked with making this happen. So, Bill, if you'd like to speak with Liz or about Liz.
Liz, you can just stay seated for now. So it's been about 3 months ago that Liz came to me, about 3 months ago, and we had this conversation. She came into my office and she says, you know, I've got this laundry list of things to talk about, and then we get to the last one, and she says, well, I got one more thing, and then she tells me that she's departing. And I'm like, okay, well, that's denied. Let's move on to whatever the last thing we need to talk about is, because that's not happening. But what was really funny about it is we proceeded to have that same conversation, I think, 3 more times as we went across to personnel, and then we went to the chief, and we went to the city manager, and each time it was like, well, that's a fine idea, but that's not okay, so let's talk about the next thing. So, but in the end, Liz is indeed going to be departing. She's been with Animal Services for quite a while and in a variety of roles. She was a volunteer. She was the executive director of the foundation, which is the fundraising arm of the shelter, and oversaw that for quite a while. And then for the last 4 years has been the director of Animal Services and has led that program there. To say that Liz has had a distinguished time here is kind of an understatement. She's had a variety of programs that she's put in place. Many of them have gotten quite a bit of attention in the media. If you've seen the program that was done at the prison with the dogs being trained and so forth, as far as bringing them online and having them learn at the prison and then be released out in adoption environment has been certainly something that was kind of groundbreaking, at least in this area. We did some training yesterday as far as some slack water training to save animals when it comes to like rescuing them for floods, that kind of thing. Liz brought that online, and that again, that just is coming to fruition just yesterday. We have a large-scale disaster and incident management team that's in place now. So when we have things that happen, whether it be situations where we have large amounts of animals that need to be taken in from a residence where they're not being taken care of, or if we have a situation involving a disaster, Liz has put together a large group of people that is able to do that. So the shelter volunteer corps is very, very strong. I think the last time I talked to her, I think we have over 100 active volunteers and almost 500 that actually are on the books down there. So again, a very solid program that she leaves us with. I think the hardest thing to lose when it comes to Liz is not only her ability to communicate, but the caring and the knowledge that she brings to these situations. When we were doing some of our crisis intervention team training, which we do for all of our police officers, it helps the officers learn how to deal with people who are in crisis. And Liz said, you know, we deal so much with that down at the shelter, people who are coming in or getting animals, people who are bringing in animals, people who are trying to adopt animals. How can we get that into what we're doing? Because Liz recognizes that component that goes into animal care and the adoption aspect, and that is how people are processing life. And so Liz has been one of those people who's bridged that those two together. She's understood that there's an importance to having that compassionate, caring aspect to dealing with people that have animals too. So it'll be very difficult to lose that. In addition to her knowledge, Liz is a frequent phone call in the evening or in the middle of the night by supervisors when we deal with weird animal situations. We're going to have to turn elsewhere for that now. Liz goes on to doing what is truly, I think, a passion for her, and you will see that if you talk to her here in the future. She's going to do dog training. I'm going to make a plug for the actual business now that's supposed to happen in this, right? It's Best Friends Dog Academy, and it's located down on South Sand Road. So if you're looking for dog training, that's a good place to go. So you'll be seeing Liz there. Again, the chief was not able to make it this morning, but I'll read the certificate that he has here for Liz. It says, presented to Liz Ford, Iowa City Animal Services, in recognition of her outstanding public service. Her dedication, leadership, and compassion towards people and animals serves as a positive example for all. The entire Iowa City Police Department extends its gratitude and best wishes as she moves forward to the next chapter of doing what she loves. So without any ado, Liz Ford. So we're going to hold it up and get some pictures here. Want some like this? Mike doesn't take too few pictures, if you'll notice that over time.
Get back up here. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Liz and I go way, way, way back. It was important for me to start with that acknowledgement. We will get to the rest of our family here in a moment, but now I would like to take a few minutes and acknowledge some of our past family members. There's quite a few actually officers, but particularly retired officers. I see my first chief in the back of the room, but for those of you who are here with the Iowa City Police Department or other law enforcement agencies that have retired, if you'd please raise your hand or stand so you can be recognized. I would also like to acknowledge some of our city's leaders. The mayor is over here, as well as at least, I believe, 2 council members, Pauline, and I thought I saw Susan. Is there anybody else that I'm not yet seeing? City manager's office is represented by Ashley Monroe. City manager Jeff Fruin is not in the office today. So anyway, thank you all for attending. Thank you all for taking time out of your busy days to come and be part of this. I'm going to move on now to our promotions. We talked a little bit about Liz leaving. I am also leaving in a little less than a month now. September 7th will be my last day, but that creates kind of a cascade effect from nearly the top all the way down. My duties will be handed off to Captain Campbell. He will become captain of field operations. Promoted to replace Bill Campbell or to assume those duties is Lieutenant Denise Brotherton. The chief did prepare some comments, and I'm going to read what he prepared, and then I'll add a little bit to that later. Denise will be assigned as Commander of Support Services Division. She was hired in 1995. She was promoted to Sergeant in 2008 and Lieutenant in 2015. She has a Bachelor of Art in Criminal Justice from Mount Mercy University. She's a graduate of the Iowa Law Enforcement Academy. She attended the FBI National Academy. He says a top-rated law enforcement leadership school. It's the top-rated law enforcement leadership school. I say that as an alumni, but congratulations on that, Denise. She presently serves as the Vice President of the FBI National Academy Associates Iowa chapter. She most recently, and that was this year, received the Iowa Police Chiefs Association Community Policing Award. The chief notes that the best feedback a police chief can receive about an employee is from the public. She recently did a presentation to the Sunrise Optimist Club of Iowa City, and one attendee later told me, the enthusiasm Lieutenant Brotherton has for creating a climate and mentality of community service within her watch and beyond is very apparent and equally encouraging. Denise's breadth and depth of experience afford her immediate credibility, and when she presents information, it does nothing but heighten that credibility. She is the kind of leader we need and want on our team. I've worked with Denise for over 20 years as Iowa City police officers, and I believe the chief nailed it. She's earned this position. She will thrive in this position, and it is good for the department for her to be promoted to this position. Denise, if you'll please come forward. Are there guests that you would like to introduce?
Yeah, well, I have my whole family here, but Mike and Kirk would like to be attending.
Okay. See if I can do this without stabbing you. Mike, Kirk.
It's my husband, Mike, my son, Kirk. Mike retired 2 years ago. 2 years ago. Okay, guys.
Open the window.
This is what it's like at home. Attention. Usually some more yelling. Okay.
Congratulations, Lieutenant or
Thank
Captain.
Hear it, we're all family.
Exactly. Somebody was listening. Denise's promotion to captain means that there is now an unfilled lieutenant's position. Promoted to police lieutenant is Sergeant Scott Gaarde. He will be assigned as the commander of Patrol Section Evening Watch. Scott was hired in 1997. He was promoted to sergeant in 2009. He has an associate's degree in law enforcement from Clinton Community College and a bachelor's degree in sociology from the University of Iowa. He's a graduate of the Iowa Law Enforcement Academy, a graduate of Northwestern University's Command and Staff and Command School. A good indication of his abilities was reflected in a letter the chief found when he was promoted to sergeant. A local defense attorney wrote about Scott, "Congratulations on your recent promotion. You certainly deserve it, and we will all benefit." Such a compliment from a defense attorney is a good barometer of the depth of Sergeant Gaarde's talent and dedication. Scott, will you please step forward? Congratulations. Scott, is there anybody that you would like to introduce or recognize?
Sure. My parents, Mark and Janice, are here, and my wife, Amy, and two of my favorite daughters are here. My third has started classes today at Iowa State.
Good, excellent. Step on up. I also have worked with Scott for over 20 years. We're kind of the old guard. And would you like to bring anybody forward to pin your bars on?
Sure. The girls, please.
Okay.
Stephanie, my wife, too. Thank you.
Come on up. Your dad can tell you how those need to go on.
Stick 'em in.
Pass these up there.
Cerebral.
Thank you. They're probably tricking her.
Congratulations. Scott's promotion also creates a vacancy. Promoted to police sergeant is Officer Andrew McKnight. He will be assigned as a supervisor of the Patrol Section Day Watch. Andrew was hired by the Iowa City Police Department in April of 2014. He was raised in Scotland. He served in the British Royal Air Force Police before moving to the United States. He has a bachelor's degree in health and sports and a master's degree in cultural studies from the University of Iowa. He attended and graduated the Iowa Law Enforcement Academy. He is a crisis intervention instructor and recently presented crisis intervention training to the Black Hawk County Sheriff's Office. The CIT consultant working with the Black Hawk Sheriff's Office had this to say about Officer McKnight. Officer McKnight brilliantly conceptualized the benefits of CIT and explained them easily. The class was engaged, and their interest was translated to the class evaluations. Every single evaluation raved about Officer McKnight and how interesting and relevant his presentation was. Additionally, an assessor during our promotional process noted, "Candidate McKnight has an exceptional understanding of the communication process." Officer McKnight, now Sergeant McKnight, will be a great mentor to the officers in his command. Do you have guests or family that you would like to introduce,
Yeah,
Andrew?
I have Carrie, my wife, her mother Irene, and Kira and Cameron, and some friends in the Tony and Kaylin, and I don't know if Brad's here, but yeah.
All right, why don't you come on forward? Congratulations, sir. There will be time for more pictures with family for everybody that is not getting collar brass today. Just a couple brief comments about those promoted. Most of you will not remember Officer Dan Dreckman. Dan was a longtime officer when I started. When I was first promoted to sergeant, Dan was very supportive and very encouraging. But he also pulled me inside and said, "Don't ever forget where you came from." And I would pass those words on to each of you today. So, and that way I hope Dan's legacy also gets passed along. Because of promotions and because of retirements, we now have vacancies on the police department. The police department staffing was also expanded. We are moving from 82 sworn officers to 84 sworn officers, and we have some grant positions that we, although temporary, we are currently being allowed to fill. Because of that, today also sees the hiring of 3 new patrol officers for the Iowa City Police Department, and we are now moving on to that portion of our ceremony. Herman Connor will be badge number 24. Mr. Connor attended Cedar Rapids Jefferson High School. He has a bachelor's degree in math and physical education from Luther College. He graduated with honors. Prior to being hired by the Iowa City Police Department, he was a math teacher at Cedar Rapids Jefferson High School and Roosevelt Middle School. Jonah Kuntz will be badge number 69. Jonah attended and graduated Solon High School. He has a bachelor's degree in criminal justice from St. Ambrose University. Prior to being hired by ICPD, he was employed by the City of Cedar Rapids Street Department. Isaiah McNamee will be badge number 70. Isaiah attended Waterloo Columbus High School. He currently, although that is now done, isn't it? He just completed his degree work at Iowa State University, where he majored in sociology and criminal justice and Bachelor of Arts or Science? Arts. Bachelor of Arts degree. Just earned that, kind of fast-tracked it because of our hire. During college, he was employed as a student security officer. Shout out to his dad, Mike. Mike retired from the Waterloo Police Department. He was their lieutenant of investigations. And how long ago was that, Mike, that you retired? 4 years. 4 years ago. So thank you. Of these 3 individuals, we have quite the variety. I mean, we have somebody coming from being a school teacher. We have a legacy in Isaiah. Jonah Kuntz I've known for at least 16 years. He's good friends with my children. You each bring in your own individuality. Again, I would go back to what Officer Dreckman said, don't ever forget where you came from, but don't be afraid to grow and expand those horizons too. You come from 3 very different viewpoints. That's one of the things that's beautiful about Iowa City is, unlike one of the other departments I hired, which way back then kind of tended to hire the same officer over and over again. Iowa City hires, well, British Royal Air Force people from Scotland. I mean, we hire a diverse group of officers, and that serves both our department and the community well. So, gentlemen, if you'd please step forward. Jonah, since you're first here, if there's anybody that you would like to introduce before we step upstairs.
Yes, my dad, Mike, and his wife, Heather, and their son, Gino. My mom, Jackie, her husband, Scott, my girlfriend, Kelsay, and my best friend, Drew.
Okay. If you just go ahead and step right over here. Connor, anybody you would like to introduce?
Yeah, my mom, Renita, my dad, Bob, brother, Jeremiah, his wife, Nikki, my fiance, Brianna, her mom, Shelly, my sister, Melissa, all my nieces and nephews are here too. So
I think you win. So go ahead and step up. And Isaiah, anybody that you would like to introduce?
I don't know how I follow that up, but my dad's here, like Troy stated. Mike, my sister Alex is here. My girlfriend Emma's here, and her parents Steve and Lisa are also here.
Okay. If you step on up. I'm going to take this moment to introduce Kelly Freeling. I always call her Kelly. She is our city clerk. She needs to administer the oath of office before we can move on to the pinning of badges.
I state your name.
I, Connor Herman,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Iowa,
and the Constitution of the State of Iowa,
and I will faithfully and impartially,
and I will faithfully and impartially,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of the office of police officer
of the office of a police officer
in Iowa City, Johnson County, Iowa,
in Iowa City, Johnson County, Iowa,
as now or hereinafter required by law.
as now or hereinafter required by law,
That I will, in letter and spirit,
that I will, in letter and spirit,
support and obey the rules and regulations
support and obey the rules and regulations
governing the Iowa City Police Department,
governing the Iowa City Police Department,
that I will not be influenced
that I will not be influenced
in the discharge of my duty
in the discharge of my duty
by fear, favor, reward, or personal prejudice.
by fear, favor, reward, or personal prejudice,
That I will always conduct myself in such a manner
that I will always conduct myself in such a manner
as to reflect credit upon my fellow officers.
as to reflect credit upon my fellow officers.
And then, if you want,
Signatures now.
yeah, if you want to have them sign. Got Isaiah first.
Normally, the chief or me or the other captain would pin badges on. We are welcoming all three of these to the family of the Iowa City Police Department. As I did state, Isaiah is already a member of the law enforcement family by virtue of his father. I'm going to start with Isaiah, and Mike, I would like to invite you up to pin Isaiah.
swear I poked it for you. There we go. There.
Congrats. I'm going to make you stand up there for a few minutes. They'll be spending some time at the police department this week doing some administrative tasks, some paperwork, and reviewing some policies, getting everything put together that Sergeant Hart hasn't already done for them. Next week, they begin their work at the Iowa Law Enforcement Academy up at Camp Dodge. They'll be there for many, many, many weeks. I don't believe any of the three knew each other before you started this process. Last weekend, Isaiah and Jonah moved into an apartment together here in Iowa City. So now they're not just colleagues, they are roommates. Despite what some people say, and I have friends, I have acquaintances that ask me, would you have your kids go into law enforcement? Law enforcement has changed. That's not a bad thing. It will continue to change. It does not matter if the Iowa City Police Department is the best department in the state or not. If it does not grow, if it just sits back on those laurels, it will get passed and it will become a dinosaur. We are very, very progressive. We're a very, very progressive community. We're a very well-educated community. There will be media and public comment about pretty much everything you do. Don't mistake that attention to detail, those opinions, those voices as being anti-police. You have a very engaged community. You have a community that cares what happens to it, and you have a community that wants the best police department for its citizens that it can have. We all want the same thing. We all want to live, grow, and thrive in this community. I've used the word legacy several times. Isaiah is a legacy by family members. You are my last three hires. Jonah in particular, that is special to me. Again, you grew up being a friend of the family and of my kids, and it really, really means something to me that you're the last person I was able to offer a job to. So congratulations, gentlemen. At this point, the formal ceremony is done, unless Captain Campbell has anything to add. Feel free to mingle and take pictures. Congratulate your family members and our new promotees. Congratulations all.